Hello and welcome back to the Wool Factory's YouTube channel. I thought today I would make a video on how to deal with knots in balls of yarn because I have a couple of very simple ways for dealing with those. Unfortunately, due to the manufacturing process, it's not always possible to make balls of yarn in one complete length, so they do have to join the fibres every now and then, so you may be unlucky to find 2 or 3 knots in your ball of yarn. The industry allowance is up to 5 per 100-gram ball. So obviously if you were to buy yarn from us and find any more than that, we would of course replace it. But I have a couple of tried and tested simple ways to deal with knots so that actually the joins don't show in your work. So I'm going to show you how to do this today. Right, now I'm going to show you my 2 favourite ways of dealing with knots in balls, because as I said earlier, they do happen. So all you need to deal with them is a pair of yarn scissors and your fingers. So the first one, when you come to your knot here, oh no, there's a big knot. They're usually quite unsightly, they're quite thick and big, but obviously, as I said, it is just part of the manufacturing process. So what I tend to do is get my yarn scissors, cut as close to either side of the knot as possible. There we go, so you lose the bare minimum amount of yarn. Pop that to one side. And then the first one I'm going to show you is personal preference as to which you will like, but this is the first one. This is called the invisible knot. It works really well on really chunky yarns, more so than the thinner stuff, but I'll show it to you anyway. You get both ends together like that, hold them between your finger and your thumb, get the end that is attached to the ball, and then wrap that around the thumb and over the yarn. So you're kind of attaching it to your thumb, if you can see there. You're wrapping it around twice like that. And then you're going to go between the thumb and the yarn. So taking it down the middle there. Now what you're going to do is carefully feed these 2 ends into those 2 loops that were wrapped around your thumb, and then gently pull on this end like that over the top. Get that end in there, there we go. Pull that over there and over there, and pull that as tight as you can, and that makes a longer, flatter knot. So if we cut the straggly ends off like that, there we go. You can cut it really close to the knot as well. So let's get these all out of the way. There we go. And cut a little bit more off there actually. Don't want it sticking out. And this will disappear nicely into your work. So I'm just going to work a few trebles just to show you how much it disappears and how you can't see it. So we have to go 1, 2, 3. And if I finish the row, and then always into the end. There we go, chain, there we go. And now that knot has completely disappeared. See, you cannot see it. You can barely feel it. And that has disappeared into your work with the minimum amount of wastage. So now I will show you another way, which, let me just chain 3 so we can start the next row. There we go, so chain 3. Right, now, for example, let's imagine we've cut a knot out of here. Right, so get a bit off the ball. Now, if you fold that over, so you've got the first one folded over, hold that between your finger and your thumb, get this end of the yarn, feed it through, bring it back around, feed it round the back, bring it back over, and then pop it back through the loop on the top. Here we go. Ooh, if I can feed it through there. There we go. Feed it through like that. So then we just pull them tight. This looks very much like a reef knot. So if we pull it as tight as we can. Here we go. Let's get those loose ends. Pull them nice and tight. This will make a really small knot that basically will be easy to hide into your work. So there we go. Pull as tight as we can. There we go. cut your ends off. One and nope. Two. There we go. Right. Now let's work that into our project. Here we go. So we've done the first one. There we go. Right, now I've worked that knot into here. Pull it out. Again, completely invisible. I actually can't even feel it. So look, and it's not visible on that side either. So that hides away absolutely perfectly in your work. I will show it to you one more time because this is my favourite one. So fold it over in half. There we go. Get your loop, get the other end, feed it from the back, from underneath the loop, all the way through. Bring that round this way. Feed it around the back, over the top, and then back through the loop. Up onto that bit, back through the loop. There we go. Back through there, and then pull tight as we can. Here we go. Pull that nice and tight. Pull these bits nice and tight. There we go. And then cut the ends off. 1, 2. And then work this into our project for it to disappear. Here we go. So, ready. And then it will completely disappear. I can see the knot down there. And that knot is now in the work. Can't even feel it. And you can't even see it either. So there we go. So they are 2 brilliant ways for you to try. So have a go at both, see which is your favourite. You can obviously pause this video, rewatch it as many times as you need to try and get a hang of it. They are quite fiddly, but they are worth it to basically hide any joins in your work. But you can also use it for joining colours. So if you wanted to do stripes and you wanted to make invisible joins, you can use it for that too. But yeah, have a go. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I will see you next time. Now that is my top tip for dealing with knots in balls. So please obviously leave your comments, like, share and subscribe, and I will be back with more videos. Obviously, if you have anything you would like to see from us, please pop it in the comment section below. But I will see you really soon.